when you pictured your life with your dog, did you picture yourself sitting there with a clicker? Did you dream about having your own clicker? Did you dream about bedazzling your clicker? Maybe having it on a lanyard, just me and my clicker. Did you think about that? Because I didn't dream about having a clicker. Did you picture yourself standing there with your matching treat pouch that has the little hook on it, that, the little ball holder and the thing? Some of you are probably like, no, but now I would like those things. That would be awesome. Ah, yes, the dog trainer stuff. Did you think about the fact that you'd have to talk about different types of leashes and long lines and all of the things? Well, if you're like me, the answer to that is no. So this episode today is for the tired, the over it, the I did not sign up to look like a dog trainer every day crowd, because samesies. I know I'm confessing all today in this episode. Let's talk about what it really takes to live with a good dog without pretending we all want to carry around treat pouches forever, or worse, pulling those jeans out of the wash and realizing you left all the liver treats, that gooey mess, inside your pocket. If that is you, that you are like me, let's get into it. Ready to have a calm and peaceful life with your dog without the stress of those fear-based behaviors? Hi, I'm Tracy, and I've been there, overwhelmed by all the conflicting dog training advice and unsure of what to do next. But now I help dog lovers like you simplify your life with your dog by building confidence naturally, fostering trust, and addressing those fear-based challenges. So, if you're ready, stop chopping those chicken wieners and let's get to it. Hey, does your dog seem calm 1 minute and then boom, a redirect, a meltdown the next? You're doing all the things, but it's still confusing, frustrating, and let's be honest, it's exhausting. Well, that is why I created the Fearless Framework, a 3-step system to help your fearful or reactive dog build real confidence naturally. Hey, let's break that fear cycle together, friend. Head on over to beyondobedience.ca/fearless and let's get started. Well, hello, my dog-loving friend. It's Tracy. Welcome to Beyond Obedience. I am super glad you're here. Listen, I need you to buckle in for this. And forewarning, this episode may not be for you. And if it isn't, that's okay. I'm not throwing shade. Okay? I just want to say the things that might be going through somebody's head where they're feeling a little bit guilty and and they want to know if it's just them. And I want you to know it's not just you, because I'm going to just dive in a little bit into the backstory of my life and how I kind of got started as a dog trainer who never really wanted to be a dog trainer. So buckle up. It's a convoluted story, but we're going to get into it. And as I mentioned, this may not be for you, and that's okay. Please hang out though. Please hang out anyway, even if you're like, that's not really me, Tracy. Just hang out with us for a little while, because part of this is going to be we can all hang out together, even if some of us are different, right? We celebrate our differences. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about this idea of, so you think your dog should know better. Here's why your training isn't working. And for me, this is honestly why my training wasn't working. Not only was my training not working, but the training I was offering others when I first started wasn't really working, because the old adage of you can't fake it till you make it kind of thing doesn't work. It doesn't work with dogs. It really doesn't. One, dogs call you out on it. Dogs are honest. Dogs will call you out on it. And so that's kind of what happened to me. And there's a part of me almost that wants to go back to the beginning and kind of apologize to all of my previous clients where I was like, practice place command and do all these things, because I was like, or not. All right, what am I talking about? Let's get into it. Listen, this idea came up because I have heard this time and time again where people will say to me, he should have known better, or she knows this, right? They have this idea that the dog should know better. And the trainer in me, if there is any left, I'm kind of smashing that down a little bit, but the trainer in me is kind of like, no, you didn't really teach it. You thought you taught it, but you didn't really teach it. You didn't really take it to the level of actually teaching. You said it a few times, you gave a few treats, you didn't proof it, you didn't go into different environments, you didn't do all of the work involved in training. You didn't do all of that. You just said it a couple times. And that, my friend, is not going to cut it. It's not going to cut it. But we find ourselves saying things like, well, she knows this, or she should have known better, or she shouldn't have done it. She knew I was mad, so she should have known better. Those kind of verbiage. If you're saying those kind of things, this podcast might be for you. This episode might be for you. Okay. Because I'm going to come out and tell you straight out, confessions of a dog trainer. I don't really like dog training. There, I said it. I said it out loud. And I've also said I'm not really a dog trainer. So there you go. As you've probably heard me mention a couple of times in the past episodes and whatnot, I am jumping off this bandwagon. I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to be associated with it. There's craziness in the dog training world. I don't want to be any part of it. I'm walking away. But I don't really like dog training. I don't like it. I'm just going to stand on. I don't like it. I find it boring, right? Like, I'm like the repetitions. I mean, honestly, I'm just like, oh, do we have to keep doing this over and over and over again? I don't like it. And if I'm being like 100% honest, there's a part of me that doesn't like it for the dog. What? I know. Listen, this might rub you the wrong way. And if it is, just hang in with me for a little bit. And I'll kind of explain where I'm coming from. But like, if I go back to my early days, like young Tracy days, like imagine a little blonde little girl. Let's put pigtails on me because cute. If you can imagine, I grew up with dogs. My dad was a big dog lover. We had big dogs, usually German Shepherds. And I would spend my quiet little days just hanging out with my dogs, just hanging out with them. I wasn't training them. I wasn't teaching them anything. I was just kind of hanging out with them. And I would go on adventures with them. We would have the most grand adventures, my dogs and I. And they were my best friends. I never really thought about quote unquote training them. And I know there's lots of people that have like stories of when they were young, like they trained their dogs and they taught their dogs stuff and they created that relationship. And that's fine. But for me, it wasn't like I was training them. I was just hanging out with them. I was kind of following them around. They would follow me around. I even had the one adventure. This is a true story. I had the one adventure where I was a dumb kid, apparently, but I was out with my dogs and I was playing around and I thought it was a cat. I thought it was a cat. There was this like red thing coming at me and I was like, oh, it's a kitty. And my German Shepherd, I believe it was Thor. He like came out of nowhere and grabbed this thing and like broke its neck and chucked it to the side. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like I was freaking out. And then I went over and found out it wasn't a cat. It was a fox. And as it turned out, it was a rabid fox. And so Thor saved me from that. And he had ended up having to be quarantined and all that stuff. He was fine. It was a happy ending kind of thing. But this was a day in the life for me. I was always out with my dogs. I was always hanging out with my dogs and trying to befriend rabid foxes. Again, put those pigtails back on me and then I look cute. Like she got by on her looks, little Tracy. She wasn't bright. Okay. But anyway, my whole point is that I wasn't like training the dogs. I was just hanging out with them and I was just being with the dogs. And so I never set out to be a dog trainer. And I've told this story before on a couple different occasions, but like dog training kind of found me. I did dog training. I did what everyone else did. And if you had been a part of my boot camp, I should do another one of those. Those are fun. If you were part of the boot camp, you've heard the story of, me trying to fix my dog's aggression problems by taking him to all these different trainers and doing different training and all that stuff. And at the end of the day, I didn't really like it. I never did my homework. Like, legitimately, I was the person in the parking lot 5 minutes before class doing 17 million repetitions of sitting down, trying to be like, don't make me look stupid in the class. You know? Anyone else? Like, I don't know what would happen. I would leave the training and they give us our homework, and then I'd leave for the week and I'd come back a week later and I hadn't done a thing. And I was like, please don't make me look stupid. Anyway, you know what? It just wasn't my thing. I didn't like it. And so, the bottom line though was, one, my dogs miraculously never made me look bad in training. In fact, and I think I've told the story before on this podcast. If I haven't, I would, because I loved this. I love this story. But my dogs won. I won the little game at the end when we were done the 8 weeks and they were like, doing up our report cards and whatnot. They would make us play this game of why is the word musical chairs? There it is. I'm like, I can see it in my head. The word didn't come up to me. We would play musical chairs, and I won every single time. And I won with my dog Jessie for beginner, and then grade 1 and grade 2. And then I had someone actually challenge me because they were like, well, she's already a trained dog or something. I'm like, she's not a trained dog. And then the next dog I brought was a beagle. And I was like, I won that game with a beagle. So, mic drop moment. Anyway, my whole point is that I managed to do really, really well in all the classes. I managed to have incredibly, responsive dogs that were eager and willing and wanted to work and do all the things, and they were invested in me and all of that stuff. Meanwhile, I'm standing in classes with dogs that are running up to other dogs and seeing other dogs and jumping on their owners and all of that thing. And I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, I don't know why your dogs are like that. My dogs are like this. I didn't know. It took me a while to kind of figure it all out. But the bottom line is that it brings me to the point of that training isn't actually the problem. And I don't think it is. If you're someone like me that doesn't necessarily like training, first of all, you can admit it. I think I asked this once on a poll inside my Facebook group. I'm like, who here likes training? And everyone was like, I love training. Training's awesome. And I'm like, oh. Maybe it's just me, but I know there's got to be some people, and maybe the word training is encompassing just being with dogs or doing stuff with dogs. Maybe that's it. When I'm talking about training, I'm like, I don't like doing the homework. Maybe it is just me, but here's the way I think about it. If you're someone that's struggling, there's a possibility that training isn't the problem, but it's the lifestyle that you didn't sign up for. Like when you pictured your life with your dog, like let's be real. Like, so let's be real. When you pictured your life with your dog, did you picture yourself sitting there with a clicker? Did you dream about having your own clicker? Did you dream about bedazzling your clicker? Maybe having it on a lanyard, just me and my clicker. Did you think about that? Because I didn't dream about having a clicker. Did you picture yourself standing there with your matching treat pouch that has the little hook on it, that, the little ball holder and the thing? Some of you are probably like, no, but now I would like those things. That would be awesome. Maybe that's you. Again, this isn't a judgment thing. I'm just saying, for those of us that if this wasn't your ideal of dog ownership, if you didn't think about these things, but instead, let's say you thought about things like your life with your dogs, like camping trips or patio hangs or calm walks or lazy evenings or snuggling on the couch, that is a dream of just having a good dog. The other is dreaming about being a dog trainer. And some people are dreaming about being dog trainers. There's some people that just love the idea of dog training and connecting with animals that way and teaching them how to cope and live in Humansville and all that stuff. And it's still great. Don't get me wrong. But if that's not what you signed up for, if that's not what you were thinking, then dog training becomes a to-do list item, something that you feel like you have to do instead of something that you get to do. And if you are someone that just sort of dreamed about camping and traveling and all this stuff with your dog and hiking and biking and skijoring or whatever it was, if whatever you thought of, if that's what you were thinking of, perhaps the dog training has kind of like a, oh gosh, I got to do it, right? I look at it like, it's the grapefruit diet. You remember the grapefruit diet? It's like the grapefruit diet. Like intensive training regimes might give you results, and they will, right, if you do them. But it's not sustainable if you don't like it. You can't live off grapefruit your whole life, right? At least it feels like the grapefruit diet for me. It doesn't mean it's for you. It might be different for you. So if you don't like doing it, you're not going to do it long term. And that's not failing. That's just being human. That's like everything else, right? That's why even like, let's go back to diet culture. That's why people are changing their verbiage around it, saying it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. You really have to live this lifestyle, right? Training is kind of the same thing. It's not a one and done kind of thing, if I'm being honest, like it's hard work. It's a lot of work. Now, I know some people are going to be like, yeah, but you have to train dogs, Tracy. Like, you have to train dogs, right? Because trainers are right. You're not doing the reps, right? Like, if you're someone who's gone to training and you've done the classes and you're like me and you didn't do the homework, but you still showed up every week and you got your low certificate and you told your dog you're a good dog. And then when you got home, you took your treat pouch and you put it in the basket. You never saw it again. Right? Like, and you're not like, I'm going to take my treat pouch out on my walk and go for a walk with my treat pouch. Like, if that's, I've seen many people out walking their dogs. 9 times out of 10, if I see somebody with a treat pouch, they're a dog trainer and not a dog owner. I'm just calling it like it is. That's all I'm saying. Right? So trainers are right? If your dog isn't getting it, it's probably because you're not doing the reps, but that's not the whole picture. That's not the whole story, because the industry isn't wrong that practice creates fluency, because that's true, 100% true. But the missing piece is actually more about relevance and real life integration, kind of like making it a lifestyle, right? Not something that you have to do, not a to-do list, but an actual lifestyle. You don't need more repetitions, my friend. You need a relationship with the dog. You need to wake up every day and realize that the things that you do and how you move about your day matter when it comes to dogs. And a dog who wants to follow your lead doesn't need perfect cues or lots of reputation. They just need to know you're somebody worth following. Okay? So, what do you do about it? I'm going to tell you, this is going to be a 2-part thing, because I'm already 20 minutes in and I went off on a tangent. And I didn't even tell you the whole Beagle story, and I kind of want to. Let me know in the comments if you want to hear the Beagle story, because it's so good. It's so good. Maybe I already told it on this podcast. I don't know. I have a terrible memory. So buckle in if you start hearing the same episodes over and over again. Hashtag menopause. All right. So I'm going to kind of break this into 2. We'll do the second part of this on Thursday. You'll hear because I want to make sure that you understand the secret sauce. Like on Thursday, next episode, I'm going to give you the actual secret sauce, the things that actually matter. If you're like me and you're like, I'm probably not going to do the reps, right? You ever like sign up for a gym and you're all excited at first and you go the first little while and they're like, yeah, you got to do some stuff at home. And you're like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to Netflix and chill. That's what I'm going to do. But here's one thing that I do want to give you before I head off for the day. I wanted to actually give you something directly from the Fearless Framework program, and it's this idea of what is your leadership style. Okay, you know that I talk a lot about leadership. I talk about leadership is, in my opinion, better than and should always be included in your training. If you like to train and you want to train and you're like, I actually like it, I like teaching my dog stuff. And as I've mentioned before, there are certain dogs that need training, okay? So do not miss me when I say this, right? There are certain dogs that need training. And it's one of those things that if you sign up to take on one of those dogs, if you decide to adopt one of those dogs, if you decide to get one of those puppies and it's from a working breed or working line or whatnot, or if it's an LBE or an RBE confident, I'm going to tell you right now, you got to train those dogs. They need you to train them. One of them likes to be trained. The other one needs to be trained. The LBEs like to be trained. The RBE confidents need to be trained, okay? So if you don't know what I'm talking about and you haven't taken the doganality quiz, take the quiz. Figure out your doganality, okay? Because if you have an RBE confident and you hear this episode and you're like, Tracy's giving me full permission to not train my dog, you're going to struggle, okay? There's nuances to all this, and I can help you figure that out, okay? I can certainly help you figure this out, but let's get back to it. So I believe that leadership is better than obedience. And if you're going to do obedience, do both. Okay? Do both. Do leadership and obedience. And then it's like magic. It's like magic. But first and foremost, because the dog training industry has villainized the word leadership, and I don't know another word. Like I thought about like coming up with another word, but why should I? I'm just going to reclaim it and put my stake in the ground and reclaiming the word leadership. It's not a bad word. But what I want you to do is go through this exercise with me, and I want you to figure out your leadership style. I've talked about this before. We're going to talk about this again because it's important so that you feel good, you feel confident, and you know you're on the right track when it comes to leadership, because leadership is not the same. It's not created equal, right? Leadership is not the same. So this is taken directly from the Fearless Framework. That's the online program. And it is literally, what is your leadership style? So think about how you see yourself in the relationship with your dog and how would you identify it. So here's some examples of leadership styles. I think probably the most common one is parent-child. And that would be, because a lot of us refer to ourselves as dog moms, and some of us refer to our dogs as fur babies. I had to swallow hard with that. It's just my own personal thing. I don't like it, but that's fine. But that is definitely a leadership style, parent-child, and there's certain dogs that fall into that category and do very well under that leadership style. Then we have equal partners. That's kind of where I like to land. That's where I see myself. I like to think of my dog as my partner. And I even gone as far to say equal, because there are times in my life when I need to defer to my dogs because I spend a lot of time out in nature, as with the example of Thor killing a rabid fox, right? I thought it was a kitty. So there are times in my life when I have to defer to my dogs to protect me and take care of me as I try to pet a rabid fox. I think my parents were away too that weekend, or that week. I think they were on vacation. My grandparents were looking after us, and I had to call my grandparents, be like, the Thor killed the fox. It was terrible. Anyway, I like to think of them as partners. I like to partner with my dogs. I like to think of it as, when we're in Humansville, I'm going to partner with you and I'm going to lead and guide. And when we're in nature, I'm going to follow you. I'm going to let you lead and guide and show me things that I probably wouldn't see because I'm always in my damn head. You know what I'm saying? Employer, employee. And again, I'm not saying one of these is bad or better. I'm just telling you where I land. For employer employee, I see that a lot for a lot of the working dogs. For especially for training, you'll hear trainers say like dogs are working for a paycheck, right? And they're really food motivated, working for a paycheck. That would be more of an employer employee thing. Guardian protector, that one can go sort of both ways. If you've got like a livestock guardian dog, or just a guardian breed, you know, that you use to protect. Coach athlete, there's one that maybe people don't think of, but I do. If I see like the incredible people doing agility and whatnot, I'm like, that's definitely a coach athlete. Like those incredible dog owners are treating their dogs like the athletes that they are. They're making sure they're getting the best nutrition. They're out there practicing. They're encouraging them. They're, bringing out the absolute best of their athletic dogs. And that would be sort of a coach athlete. Teacher student, for those that really like to teach their dogs tricks and things. Again, no shade. None of this episode was about shade, but that's a definite thing. Some people like to say pack leader, pack member. Nothing wrong with that. Caretaker dependent. And I usually find for caretaker dependent, it can kind of go both ways. Usually, people that feel like they're the caretaker for their dog, the dog is also the caretaker for them. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of a sweet vibe. And I will say, I see that kind of relationship sort of as dogs age. As they age, you become more of a caretaker for them, but in turn, they kind of take care of you. Like, it's a beautiful thing. Friends. I've heard some people call their dogs their best friends. I've heard people call their dogs their soulmates. That's heavy, And then there's like rescuer, rescuee. Those are the people that I would say might be a little bit more into, like those are the incredible people that can do fostering and that kind of work, where they kind of have to have a little bit of distance from the dog because they know that the dog isn't staying, but they still are creating like a caring environment. So that's definitely a relationship and a leadership style. Okay. So now, of those that we talked about, and there might be other ones, maybe you define your relationship differently. Define it however you like. Of those, I want you to grab a journal or just sit with this, and I want you to ask yourself 5 questions, okay? The first question is, what does this dynamic mean to me? If I say parent-child, what does it mean to me? I kind of explained to you what equal partners or partnering up with the dog means to me. Those moments where I defer to the dogs. I listen to the dog's wisdom when we're out in the wild because I know that their senses are better than me and they're more in tune with nature, right? But what does it mean to you? Like, really think about what that means to you, especially for things that may be a little bit more emotional, like parent-child. What does that mean to you? If you're someone that calls yourself a dog mom, that's fine, no shade. If you call your dog a fur baby, no shade on that either. But what does that mean to you, right? Because the next question that I want you to ask yourself is, what emotions come up for me when I define it this way? So this is where, and it might hit a little bit harder for some, this is where I want you to be very discerning and I want you to think about these emotions. Because for some, when we say things like parent-child and we start going, well, my dog is just my baby and I love him so, so much. You hear the emotion in that? That emotion, that's the emotion. I talked about this a few episodes ago. That's the emotions that dogs don't understand, right? They don't understand it. This intense sort of like, oh, I just love them so much. I don't even know what to do with myself. They don't understand that, right? And that emotion can, not always. Some dogs will absorb it. Social dogs will absorb it. High social drive dogs will absorb that energy and they'll be just fine with it. But a dog that isn't necessarily a high social drive dog is not going to absorb it. And that energy is going to be like friction to them. Okay, so I really want you to think about what emotions come up when I define it. So for me, as an equal partner, When I think of my dogs as equal partners, what comes up for me is respect. That's the first, like I'm thinking about what comes up for respect. Respect, respect, respect. Like equal partners means that I respect this dog. I respect their genetic nature. I respect who they are at a genetic code level. And I do expect respect back. Because if I give it, I want to get it back. Right? You respect my authority. Not in a weird way. Not in a weird way. So that's what comes up for me. So maybe write down some words. What comes up for me when I say parent-child? What comes up to me when I say coach-athlete? What comes up for me that? For me, if I had an athletic dog, like if I thought coach-athlete, it would just be like superstar. Like I would think of my dog as a superstar. Like, you know what I mean? Like what's coming up for you? What emotions come up for you? And then the third question. The questions are going to get harder after this. Okay, the third question after you've said what this dynamic means to you, what emotions come up for you when you define it, the next question is this a fair relationship for both of us? Is this a fair relationship for both of us? Some of us have gotten dogs to fill holes and to fill voids and to be something in our lives that they can't actually fill. And if this is coming up for you, I just want you to write it down. I don't want you to feel bad about it because we can do something about this, okay? So if something comes up for you here and you're like, oh, I didn't like this, we can do something about it, okay? What came up for you there? Is this relationship fair for both of us? Can I maintain this type of relationship? This would be where the training question comes in. If it's a dog that needs a lot of, can I maintain this type of relationship? Is it fair for the both of us? The next question's even harder. Can my dog realistically fulfill this role? Can my dog realistically fulfill this role? Is it in their nature to fulfill this role? And if you need help with that, if you need help trying to figure that out, you know, one of the things to do is to look at the different breeds or the different breeds that are, like if you've got a mixed breed, the different breeds that are in your dog, and start to research what those dogs are for, the brilliance of those dogs, what's in their breed. And then I want you to go back to this question, can my dog realistically fulfill this role? And then number 5, do I need to redefine it? Do I need to redefine it? And once you get there, if you need to redefine it, again, it's not the end of the world. It's fine. It's fine. We can do that. It's going to take a little bit of work on your part, but we can do it. But I think what you're going to find is that if you do that, then your dream of having the just good dog without the repetitions and without all the training and whatnot is going to be so much easier. Okay? So here's your takeaway for today. If you want to take anything away from this, you don't need to train harder. You just need to start leading, perhaps differently. Okay? And that starts with defining what kind of relationship you actually want with your dog. Now, if this stirred something in you, good. I'm glad. You're probably like, no, I'm not glad, Tracy. Now I'm questioning everything. No. You're fine. All right. I invite you to come back to part 2. Okay. We'll do that next because we're already getting along here. So come back for part 2. We're going to be talking about the secret sauce of all this stuff. I'm going to explain to you exactly how you're going to get this, the secret sauce of everything that makes it easier. It's going to make your dog want to follow you without having to do the training. Or if you're someone that likes the training, you get to do the training on top of an incredible relationship, on top of a dog that is like eager and wants to be with you. Is so much easier than fighting against something that they're not. If you've put them in a relationship category that they are like, I don't really like it, you're fighting against it, and you don't have to do that. And if this is something that you are interested in, if you like this kind of stuff, delving into relationship, this is all part of the very first module in the Fearless Framework, where we talk a lot about mindset. Mindset is everything. But we get into it in that first module because if we need to redefine it, better to redefine it now than to keep on trying to train against it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So if you're someone who's like, you know what, that is what I want to do. I'll put my hand up in the air and be like, you know what, it's true. I don't have the time to do the training, or I don't like doing the training, or I don't want to do the training. Wherever you stand on that, if that's not you, then come on into the Fearless Framework. Let's figure out all that you need to know to build an incredible relationship and bond with your dog so that everything else gets easier. How do you do that? You're going to go to beyondobedience.ca/fearless, beyondobedience.ca/fearless. There currently are lots of bonuses for you to jump into this right now. Lots and lots of bonuses. Some bonuses that not even the students that are already in Fearless Framework know all about, but lots of bonuses for those who jump in now. So if you've been thinking about it, I'm going to push you off the fence. Get off the fence. Get in there. Get in there. It's fun. We have so much fun in that group. All right. I think that's it for today. Listen, if you liked this episode, share it with a friend. Tell them to get caught up. Say you gotta listen to part 1, because we're gonna learn the secret sauce to everything that makes living with dogs so much easier. It is, in fact, my friend, the secret sauce. It's gonna make living with your dog so much easier. Tell your friends. Give me a 5-star written review on Apple if you can. That'd be great. Helps push the podcast out to more and more people. Share it on your socials. And as always, get out there today, my friend, and be the person that your dog thinks you are, because your dog thinks that you are amazing. And so do I. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now. Oh, and one more thing. This podcast is meant for entertainment and education purposes only, and it's not meant to replace hands-on professional training. If you are really struggling with your dog, please reach out to a professional in your area. All right, I think that's it. Bye for now.